I've been actually riding bikes since I was about 10 years old, but I've only been racing them for the past 5 years. I started road racing in '85. I raced Kawasaki for 1 year and then quickly bought a Suzuki. Raced that for the past 4 years. Just picked up a new bike this year and things have been going well. I was down in Portland just on the weekend, which was a national endurance race. Everybody liked Team Suzuki and everybody was there, and it was a 6-hour endurance. I was running that with partner Dan Morrison, and we did really well until we had black flag problems where they have noise levels and our exhaust blew out, so we had to stop, fix that, get back on. That delayed us about 8 to 10 minutes and quickly dropped from 5th down to 14th, and then picked our way back up and finished 8th. And so we were happy with that. And then sprint races the next day. It was a full weekend down in Portland, and finished well enough in the 750 production class to move me 2nd overall in the points down there. So I was happy with that. And maybe be able to make the national in November at Road Atlanta, Georgia. I had to change the tires to more sticky compound tires that are going to work properly. I had to put number plates on it, remove all breakable things like mirrors, turn signals, headlights, all that stuff. Strip it down as light as possible for production racing rules, because every ounce counts when you're racing. And basically change brake pads. Once stock ones are good for a short while, but then they're gone. That's the thing that you go through quite often is brake pads. And then it's basically ready for the racetrack in the class that I plan to run it in. Another thing you have to do to your motorcycles is lock wire them. You lock wire motorcycles so that they will not leak fluids or oils for your safety and the safety of other riders out there. You don't want any excess fluids on the track where people would crash. And that needs to be done, and it has to be done before you're allowed on the track. Like, you drill bolts, like drain bolts, any filler caps, anything that has to do with the fluids in the motorcycle. You also drill safety things like the bolts that hold on to your calipers, which are your brakes, and you lock wire them in such a way that if they came loose, they would not untighten completely. They would just stay in the position they are. Another reason for lock wiring is to know that you have tightened the bolt yourself. You're not going to lock wire it unless you tightened it. So there it is, tight. That is a very important thing, lock wiring, safety feature, yeah. And that's what we're trying to get for, safety all the way. Okay. A good way to start going racing is, first of all, head to our meetings, and then they have Saturday race schools. It's called a Race Tech, a very well-run school. And we also have Wednesday night practice, where you just go out there, buy your membership, and they have amateurs running. You're allowed to run with the amateurs as opposed to the pros. And then you get out there with everybody who's just learning themselves, and just get out and try some track time.
This will happen there?
It's at Westwood, BC, out at Port Coquitlam.
At Westwood, we run 8 races in a season. The final race of the year, we'll be having a 6-hour endurance race, which Steve will most likely be doing quite well, and he's quite a hot endurance racer. But the big race, August 20 and 21st, is the National, and it's part of the Canadian Nationals, and there's 6 rounds of those, and there'll be a round in Calgary just a week prior to that, and then they can all come out here to Westwood. And this is top names from all across Canada, best riders in Canada. Hopefully we'll have some contingent from the US, and it'll be a big race. Saturday will be qualifying and some heat races done there, but most of the big races will be on Sunday. That's the one to hit. Well, actually, Westwood is it's a 1.8-mile track, and it's one of the most demanding tracks in the world, actually. Gary Goodfellow, who is a world-class rider now that's from Vancouver, in a magazine article not too long ago that was taken, a Revs magazine from Australia rated Westwood as his favorite track, and he's been to Australia, New Zealand, Japan, you know, everywhere in the world pretty much now, and he figures it's the most demanding track of all the tracks. And it's closed circuit. It's a real safe circuit, actually. I believe there's only been one death in the 30 years running of Westwood, which really is quite good compared to some of the other circuits in North America. And the amount of times we use it a year and the amount of riders that are out there. The ambulance service is great. We have Phoenix Ambulance, and they do a great job for us. Unfortunately, we had 2 pretty bad crashes at our last race meeting. Both riders are okay and everything else, but you know, it looked pretty scary, and they came off at a pretty high rate of speed. But the ambulance crew does a great job and transports them. So we have 3 ambulances actually on the track at 3 different locations, and they're always close by. So for riders interested in getting involved in racing at Westwood, it's easier than a lot of people think, actually. You can come out to the track actually on our race, which is our next round is on June 4th on a Sunday. Racing gets going at about noon. And you'll see in the program, actually, we have on the 4th Monday of each month, we have a meeting with all our regular members, and this is where you can buy your membership. We have a class, actually, that we've developed a couple of years ago at Westwood for amateurs. It's amateur lightweight. It's up to 400cc two-strokes and some of the older 500s and stuff, and we allow them in the class. It's a great way to get started. You're riding with amateurs, more of your peer, and you're not being run over by some of the faster superbikes and stuff. When you practice, you actually practice with the amateurs and not with the pros, so it's a real good way to get started.